So I'm sitting here in South India, June 25th, Wednesday, and it's heavy into the monsoon season. God, let's just take a peek at that. Wow. Gorgeous. So the one point I really wanted to impress on tonight is the pace of how you get your work done. You know, as creators and as anybody who's trying to get anything done in a given day, month, year, sometimes we're going to get caught up in rushing and being high energy, high octane, and trying to get things done as fast as we can. And I remember I was going down this rabbit hole a couple years ago watching the graduation ceremonies of, famous people talking at college graduations. And I forget who it was that said it. The fastest way to any destination is slowly. And I remember hearing that and I was just like, let me just marinate in that for a little bit. And it really has rung true more and more as I pondered it and tried it on and tried to use it in practice as well. And I think the main reason why the fastest way to any goal is slow is because you're using less cortisol, you're using less energy. When you slow down and you don't rush and you bring your pace down to like a 2 or 3 out of 10, you bring your cortisol level down, which conserves so much energy. Because when we're running around stressed and our central nervous system is tightened up, when you're tightening your fist or your muscles, you're using so much energy. If you're relaxed, you're not using that energy anymore. You're conserving that. So basically, my hypothesis is you can work so much longer. You can work longer and smoother, and the smoothness that you work at, I think, perpetuates you to make smarter decisions. Because when you're really fired up and stressed and rushing and doing things as quickly as possible, you're going to make decisions based on reactivity instead of responding. You're going to react, which is the best way you can handle a situation, whether it be an emotional altercation or physical or anything. Just to slow down, take a breath and respond versus that quick knee-jerk reaction is usually not the one that we would prefer that we did if we looked back on it, in hindsight later. So those are the two reasons why I think that the pace at which you're working at your goal, whatever it may be, let's say, in YouTube's case, if you're a creator, you want to get this many followers or you want to get this many hours of viewership per, week or month, or, any type of measurable goal, try to slow down. Try to slow down and remember that if you stop rushing towards something, things kind of just come to you much easier. And I think there's so much value to that. And let alone not having burnout happen. Avoiding burnout is so huge, and not becoming an adrenaline junkie, which I'm definitely guilty of. That has so much value to the chemicals in your body, the actual chemical processes in your brain and in your body. Adrenaline just wreaks havoc on your system. I'm not a doctor, but I do know that to be fact. Look up your own research if you're interested, but adrenaline and cortisol, those are the two things that age your body the quickest. So if there's one thing I wanted to impress for my first video on this channel, is for anybody out there trying to achieve any goal, whether it be YouTube related or not, just any kind of goal, I think it's so important to slow down and just keep moving toward your goal, but almost as slowly as you can imagine, just so you can keep that consistency of pace. Because if you're sprinting, you're gonna have to take a long rest before you start sprinting again. And if you're taking a nice easy jog or just a brisk walk, you can basically do that forever. Like, you can do that as long as you're awake, and it's not gonna hurt your body. Also, when you're sprinting and stressing and reacting, you're gonna bring your immune system down, so you might get sick, and then you're gonna have to take even more time off. So the sprint recover thing is gonna be even more elongated at times. I wanna use this in my life more as well, just to slow down, realize that, you know, it is a longer process and you will get there. You will get there. And most importantly, you will get there faster if you go slower. Yeah. I want everybody who watches this to feel more relaxed after the video than when they started watching it. That's my main goal. And aside from that, just I would love to help anybody feel more calm and relaxed during so much worldwide tension right now. Yeah, beautiful. Great, well this feels like a nice place to stop for my first video here on this channel. I'm really excited to get going. And basically, the essence of what I'm setting up here is hip fire coaching. So it's a play on words of firing from the hip, which is basically saying it doesn't need to be perfect when you start. Just sometimes you just gotta hip fire, and you might not hit the target. You probably won't hit the target, but you've taken your first shot. So I want to teach how I have learned to get unstuck by moving forward through the peanut butter of just starting when you don't feel ready, because that's what's going to create the momentum. So the point is, there are many different practices and techniques, I would say, that help you to get started or help you to get in the mindset to be ready to start when you don't feel ready. I'm very passionate about this because I know how it feels to feel stuck, and it sucks. Straight up, it sucks to feel stuck. And now that I've figured out how to mitigate these issues through mindfulness and wellness practices that I've learned throughout 8 months here in India and a life of growing up in a very spiritual setting. So I'll put that in another video, but I was raised Sikh, I was raised Indian. I used to have a turban, I couldn't cut my hair, I had long hair. And I grew up around Kundalini yoga and meditation. So based on mindfulness practices and wellness practices and some other knowledge that I've picked up from world-class coaches I've worked with, motivational coaches, conscious leadership coaches, I'm going to compile the best techniques and habits and practices that I've found that's helped me in this channel. So I'm really excited about that. So please like and subscribe if you like it and you want to subscribe. No pressure. Like if you like it, and subscribe if you want to subscribe to it. And yeah, thanks for being along the ride with me. Time to glow up and show up, baby. Let's go.